Hi, welcome back to the channel Fluency with Sivi. In this video, we are going to talk about the resources that you can make use of if you want to be fluent in English. So without any further ado, let's get started. So, you guys know I don't have to mention it all the time that being fluent in English requires a lot of effort. And it mainly involves four important aspects: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Of course, we all know that, but we don't know what are the resources that are going to help us to follow all these four aspects every single day to be fluent in English. And that's what I am going to solve in today's video, where I am going to give a resource to all of you that is going to help you for all these four aspects to be fluent in English. So, talking about the first and the most important aspect, which is speaking. You all know speaking is the utmost important thing when it comes to being fluent in English, and it's important that we spend good enough amount of time on speaking every day to acquire the results that we are desiring for. Let me just suggest you an app that is going to help you to speak to people, because we all have this complaint that whom to speak, and that is when Sivi is going to come into place and is going to solve your problem of not having a partner to speak in English with. So Sivi is an app that is going to allow you to speak to strangers or English learners just like you, which is going to solve one of the biggest problem that we have as English learners. So I will recommend you all to download the app CV and use it every single day for the next 1 to 2 months and see how much of change you're going to see in yourself regarding speaking. Speaking is a very important aspect when it comes to being fluent in English. So I would highly recommend that you guys please spend good enough amount of time on speaking. If you do not spend your time on speaking, rest everything is going to be just waste. So you have to spend good enough amount of time on speaking, and you have to really prioritize that aspect of speaking. So every day make sure that you speak on the app for at least 30 minutes or more than that. Do it for the next 1 2 months and see how you're going to change in the way you speak English. So this is about the first aspect. Number two is reading. Of course, reading is important, and not every one of us loves reading, right? I was not a very big fan of reading. I used to hate reading, to be honest. But I started out very small because I knew that reading is somehow going to help my English fluency, because uh, English fluency has a lot to do with your pronunciation as well. When we say that we want to be fluent in English, we definitely want to sound attractive whenever we are speaking, right? And in order to sound attractive, it's important that we are giving enough amount of importance to pronunciation as well. Now I've clearly started to read because I just wanted to improve my pronunciation. But later, when I started to read, I started to fall in love with the process of reading itself, where I've learned a lot from books as well. So I would recommend you all that please start with story books if you are someone who hasn't read anything before. Like if you're not very familiar with reading books, I would recommend you all to start out with story books, because those are pretty interesting and very, very easy. I ordered this book from online, which is about Ramayana, and I started to read it. There are going to be a few questions asked about each chapter, and you just have to answer them. I will just try to drop a link of that in the description box. You can check it out if you want to. So, yeah, that is also a very good book. You can start out with any story books, like kids' books, or slowly you can start to read books like Atomic Habits, Do Epic Shit. So these books are also really nice, easy to read, and not very boring. They are interesting. They are interesting. So yeah, reading is also very important when it comes to being fluent in English. Number three is listening. I will consider listening also as consumption of English content. Like for example, you're watching an interview, you're watching a kid story. You are not only watching it, you're also listening to it. So whenever I used to go to my college, I used to have this habit of listening to our podcast on the way. So by the time I reached my college, I used to complete listening to one episode of a particular podcast. I used to complete listening to a story on YouTube. So that's what used to happen. So these are the ways that I would involve myself into to cover this main aspect, which is listening. Because let me just tell you how listening is going to help you. Listening is going to help you to have knowledge about English. When you want to speak in English, you need to have something in your mind, right? In order to have something in your mind, you need to consume something, and that is when listening comes into place. You have to listen, you have to understand, you have to observe, you have to grab things, and that's when you will have knowledge of something to speak in English. So that is what is going to reflect when you speak. So that's why I tell you all the time that you have to listen more if you want to be fluent in English. So listening to kid stories works, listening to amazing interviews, they work, and listening to podcasts like Rajamani, Mahabharata. There are so many podcasts that are available on Spotify that you can check it out if you want to listen more and more about English. Comes the fourth aspect, which is writing. I know many of you are not very interested to start your journey towards writing, but I somewhere feel that even that contributes some amount to be fluent in English. Not a lot, but definitely something, because I love journaling. When I say writing, the best resource that you can make use of to improve your writing skills is, of course, journaling. Journaling is nothing but just putting your thoughts down. It need not to be in a particular structure with particular rules. It's completely a personal thing. Like, you can write your thoughts down, you can do whatever you want to, nobody is going to ask you any questions. It's completely your choice how you want to do it. Just take a book, take a pen and paper, write down your thoughts, how was your day, and that's how you do it every day, and that's how you're going to improve your writing skills as well. So these are all the four activities that you can do to improve your English skills, English speaking skills, and these are the resources that you can make use of. And you know what is that one bonus tip that is going to help you all to be fluent in English? It is consistency. If you are not consistent, then nothing is going to help you. If you're following all the four aspects every single day, just try being consistent for the next 1 to 2 months and see how things are going to change for you. Even you put 1 hour of effort every day, but if you are not consistent every single day, that will definitely impact your result. So that's why I'm telling you, consistency plays a very important role. It's important that you be consistent with every single activity that you perform in order to be fluent in English, because that's what has helped me a lot. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. Come up with more such videos very, very soon. Till then, bye bye.